There have been times when we've really needed to trust the Lord concerning our kids. And I know there were especially some challenges with our second child, our daughter, Jessica. She was definitely a strong-willed child ever since she was born.
Before she was born?
Before she was born, yes. I had more problems in that pregnancy than any other pregnancy I had. We went through a lot of drama with her. And it was when she was in high school, she decided she didn't want to walk with the Lord anymore. That it was okay for mom and dad, but not okay for her, and definitely wandered.
Well, Jessica was always tried lots of boundaries, and she was a varsity cheerleader in high school, very popular, that sort of thing. Well, one day I was leading in the boardroom, and about halfway through the meeting, someone said, "The police are on the phone and they want to talk to you." So I stepped out of the meeting and said, this is the sheriff's department. We're at the mall at our substation, and we have your daughter in custody. She's been arrested for shoplifting. She had led all of the varsity cheerleaders at her high school into shoplifting at the local mall, and they'd gotten caught. And so I had to walk back into the board meeting and say, "I'm sorry, I have to leave. My daughter's been arrested, and you'll have to continue the meeting without me."
And I remember one day I was having my quiet time, and I can just remember my heart breaking, that I wanted her to know intimacy with God, intimacy with the Lord in the same way that I knew it. And she heard me crying, and she came downstairs to find out why I was crying. And I just shared with her my heart's desire for her to really have a relationship with God like I did. And I would always ask her how she and God were doing. And she'd go, "Oh, Mom," and just kind of make a face, and that was about as much as I got out of it. And I remember this one time sitting in a restaurant and asking her that question, expecting the "Oh, Mom" answer. And she responded, "You know, I really miss him." And my heart just stopped at that moment. And I didn't know what to say, because I was afraid if I said more it'd go away. But when I left, I realized that she knew he was a person. It wasn't that she missed going to church or she missed routines that we did together, but she was missing him. And that was the beginning of her starting to turn around. Several years later, she called us and said that her boyfriend was in jail and would we bail him out. And we had told our kids that if they go to jail, we're not bailing you out. And so we said, "Why would we bail your boyfriend out?" But that night on the front porch of his parents' house, realizing that her boyfriend had been arrested, realizing how she had wandered from God, she recommitted her life to Christ. That same night, her boyfriend in jail was visited by the chaplain, and he prayed to receive Christ, that there would be a Savior that would die for him. Has just had a huge impact. So while everything in a mother's heart said, "You need to lose this guy," we couldn't escape the fact that God was doing something through their lives. And that God was just asking us to hang on, to wait and see what he wanted to do.
God takes us through things that we can never imagine, and takes our children through things. And we've learned over the years that it's not over. That God is always in process with your children, and even though it doesn't look good at the moment, it doesn't mean that's where it's going to end up. And Jessica's a great example of that.
And to this day, she is the most delightful child. She is the most physically expressive. And it's just exciting to hear her say when she calls us how they're praying for things, how God is providing in their lives. We are just so blessed to be able to see what God has done.